Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Hi guys. Okay. So, why didn't Greece get Constantinople after World War One? Let's go. How you guys doing? Good? Great? Good? Great. I remember Balkan Wars. The Balkan Wars prior to World War One, Greece got off pretty well afterwards. In fact, it was Bulgaria who I thought got the short end of the stick because they seem to have like 50% of the forces. Who are the other two? I think Greece and Serbia, was it? I forget, but anyways, I feel like Bulgaria was the one prior to World War One to kind of get the short end of the stick, and I can't quite remember the reasons for the Balkan territory changes after World War One. So let's go.
Constantinople used to be the centre of the Greek-speaking world. It sat as the capital of the Roman Empire and later the Ottoman Empire, which as you'll know came to a spectacular end after it joined the Central Powers in World War I. After its defeat, the Entente planned to carve it up like this, notably removing Constantinople and not giving it to the Greeks who very much wanted it. Which raises the question, why? Why wasn't Greece given Constantinople after World War I? So first, some background. When the Ottomans...
Can I just say, my question is like, why would they be given Constantinople? But I'm about to learn that.
Greece given Constantinople after World War I. So first, some background. When the Ottomans joined the First World War, Russian leadership got very excited, because to them, when they won, they would finally be getting their hands on Constantinople, something which they had coveted forever and would help cement their position as the Third Rome.
That has something to do with the Crimean War, right?
And it would also open up access to the Mediterranean for them. The other great powers in the Entente accepted this concession because they really needed Russia. However,
guys, so were they pretty much... France and Britain giving up what they fought the Crimean War over? Or was the Crimean War less, I should know this, less about Constantinople, Istanbul, whatever, and more about representing Rome?
Never controlled the city because in 1917 it was time for a communist revolution. However, Russia would never control the city because in 1917 it was time for a communist revolution. So who would get it afterwards? Well, the Entente largely ignored the issue until the Ottomans were well and truly broken. At this point, they negotiated the Treaty of Save, which divided the empire up like this, and Constantinople was to become an international zone just like the Saarland. Greece wasn't given a look-in for several reasons. The first was that international zone meant British in all but name, who, as of the occupation, had a veto on all laws passed by the Ottoman government. And also, by gaining Constantinople, Britain would have control over every entrance to the Mediterranean, which sounded very useful to them, and thus it was not something that they were willing to give up.
That's crazy. So obviously the Suez Canal wasn't around in Roman times. And so since Rome, has anyone ever controlled both of these straits before?
Over every entrance to the Mediterranean, which sounded very useful to them, and thus it was not something that they were willing to give up. The second reason was that Greece wasn't seen as important enough to own the city. Constantinople was one of the great cities of the world, and Greece was a reluctant...
I'm pausing a lot, but
enough to own the city.
Chicago, New York, DC, what would be the middle one? Philadelphia, I guess, because there's no Boston. London, Paris, Berlin, Vienna, Istanbul, Leningrad, or St. Petersburg, Moscow, New Delhi, Beijing, Tokyo, Hong Kong, or Shanghai.
Constantinople was one of the great cities of the world, and Greece was a reluctant ally which wasn't exactly on the best terms with the Entente. The Greeks had pushed to gain this territory, collectively known as the Megali Plan. The Entente were content to give them some of this, but Constantinople was a step too far, whose inclusion would have made Greece into a middling European power overnight. Furthermore, the victors didn't quite buy Greece's claim to the city under the guise of them being the successors of Byzantium. British leaders saw Greece not as the continuation of an ancient legacy, but as a modern nation-state like Romania, and one whose German king had no right to claim the inheritance of Rome. And the third reason is the really important one. The Turkish had other plans. Whilst the Ottoman government...
German king wasn't Prince Philip, died recently, the Queen Elizabeth's husband, Greek royalty, but also had like some German ties.
Begrudgingly accepted partition, the Turkish people did not. Resistance movements sprang up quickly and soon came together under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal. He defeated the Greeks in the west, who had landed to take control of their new territory, as well as the French in the south. Kemal marched on Constantinople, where he was presented with an ultimatum: withdraw or face total war.
Dear Mr. Kemal, leave or fight me. Love, Britain.
Which the British government was happy to do alongside their steadfast allies, who had just abandoned them since this wasn't seen as important enough, and also everyone had had enough of war at this point. As such, Plan B: resign and let your successor deal with it. This led to the Allies signing the Treaty of Lausanne, which finalised the new nation of Turkey's borders. And as you'll note, Greece wasn't able to get Constantinople because now it was firmly Turkey's. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching.
Thank you for making. Awesome video. I did pause a lot. I just had a lot. There was a lot of things I wanted to comment on. All right. It really does seem like there was a race against time between after the end of the war and the setting up of whatever country the Allies would want to set up in Anatolia or in Turkey. And so race against the clock for Greece to get Constantinople, and they did not get it. Cool video. Feeling a bit lazy the other day, but I'm back to it today. More videos coming. See you guys next time.